And so I was off track. I was going down this path where I got to a point where I was experiencing burnout. I didn't want to see students anymore. I didn't want to go to any of my rehearsals. I didn't want to even go into work some days. And, it was just getting terrible. And I started to experience diminishing returns. I'd work harder, but I'd get less back. I'd be less successful. And I started to understand after a little while that God was putting roadblocks in my life. And so I was headed full throttle down this road, crashing through roadblocks. And I spent probably a year of my life just wondering, what in the world is going on here? Why is God, not helping me as much as it seemed like He was helping me before? And so I got to a point one snowy night, everything just kind of came together. And I had what I call my prayer fight with God. And this was a time, I guess it was about 30 minutes from rehearsal to home, where I got in the car and I just started yelling at God. Why? What is going on? Why have you put me in this place? Why do I hate it so much? Why am I running up against so many difficulties anymore? Started in a place of anger, and eventually it ended in a place of complete submission, because God said to me that evening, "You're on your own road. You're not on the road that I have for you. And you've been going so full throttle in one direction that you haven't even stopped to even look at what I want for you." And so after that night, and through the course of the next few weeks and months, Reba and I had a whole lot of conversations and a lot of work and things, and we finally changed our mind. And I have to say, it was really all me, because that's the kind of personality I have. Reba's not that kind of personality. So it turned into something that I had created, and it was even putting a wedge between the two of us. But I gave in. I said, "God, whatever it is you want from me, show me. Tell me what it is, and I'll do that." And so, long story short, I ended up in full-time music ministry in a church in Houston, Texas. And I took my little family, if you guys will show that picture. This is my family in '97, packed them aboard a minivan, and confidently drove away from home, knowing that God had a plan for my life, had a plan for our lives together. And we headed to Houston, Texas. And of course, our parents, our friends thought we were a little crazy. It was a pretty big step. 3,400 miles. Took us 9 days to drive it. We didn't even have a plan at the border. We just kind of thought, God's on our side, so we'll see what happens. It turned out to be a little more difficult than that, but I'm legal now. Thank you. Yes. Not a U.S. citizen, all right? You don't let me vote yet, but the day is coming. No. I was legal all the time, all the way through there, but I just want to make sure there are no immigration authorities out there. I do have a green card. I'll bring it next week if you need to see it. Anyway, I remember really specifically driving away from home with everybody in the back. The van was packed full. Just all this before us, all these questions and opportunities for problems and issues in life. And this song came on the stereo, and I want to play a little bit of for you and let you hear what we were listening to. And this began and became our prayer. We're putting ourselves out there, and we really needed him to come through now. Feeling a sense of hopelessness, helplessness, I should say. Just knowing that if he didn't come through, we really didn't have plan B. And this last line was the line that really did it for us. We never wanted to go back to our old life. Never wanted to go down the road without him anymore. And so it was pivotal. It was a point in our lives where we completely changed direction. Now, there may be some people here this morning. You feel like you're going down your road. You're running into roadblocks. Maybe you set up a situation where you felt like God was on, he had given you the road that you're on, but it's now piled full, and God is telling you to put on the brakes. Maybe you're continuing to drive through all those roadblocks anyway. I want to encourage you, be aware. Look at the situation. See what God is asking you to do. Maybe there are people in this room, I'm pretty certain there are people in this room who haven't even considered God in their road of life. And if you're one of those people, consider it. Think about what God could have for you in your future. And if you'd like to pray with someone, ask questions about that, at the end of our services, we always have somebody down here on the side. We'd love to pray with you and talk to you about those issues. So my first point, this is a 3-point sermon, by the way. All good sermons have 3 points. So, my first point, where am I going? If you're filling in the blanks on the outline, if we know where we're going, we're going to make a difference. We're going to make our mission count everywhere we go. It's a critical issue. We must know where we're going. Now, I realize there are all kinds of people in this room, and many of us are on the right road. Many of us have given our lives to Christ and said, Lord, whatever it is you want from us, show me, and we'll go in that direction. So there are many of us in this room that are walking the road. How many of us, I'm just curious, how many of us have been following Christ for more than 5 years? It's mostly everybody. How about 10 years? A lot of people, yeah. 20 years? Okay, I got to put my hand down for the next one. How about 50 years? All right, I see some hands around the room. That's amazing. Now, I ask you that because I think in any effort where you have been going down the road for a while, we need to take a moment here and there and look at how it's going. We need to assess how we're doing down that road. And so this morning, this message may be for you. Maybe you've been on this road a long time and you haven't taken time to take stock lately of how things are going. You see, maybe God is asking us to be more involved in our kids' lives. Or maybe God is asking us to serve more at our church. Maybe God is asking us to give to this thing or that thing. We need to be conscious and aware of what He's asking us to do, because we got one chance at this, and it's too important to ignore. So maybe there are a few people that need a dramatic change. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we need to go into full-time ministry. That's not, what God is asking from each one of us, because God needs us in every part of our community. In fact, those people around you, the people you work with every day, that's your mission field.